I'm Chris Vanderbush and welcome to Brisbane, Australia. This semester has just been one of thriving. My team and I have just been enjoying it. We've really come together. Last semester there was some division and also just taking on too much. So we were all exhausted and tired all the time. And so I'm glad that these changes have taken place. The ministry just continues to do great. Last semester was also going great, except we're just very exhausted all the time. And now we're just really praising God for what He's doing with bringing more and more people to the ministry, and we're seeing more people come to faith. And one of the big developments this semester has been the international ministry. And I'd like to hand it over to my teammate Andrew to share a little bit with you about what that has looked like.
One of the new things we've seen this past semester is an international ministry that we're now doing once a week at Griffith Uni on Thursdays. I'm currently meeting with another missionary from a different campus, and a friend, and we're meeting students from all around the world, having Bible studies and doing an introduction to Christianity called Christianity Explained. One of the guys that I've really been working with is a guy called Wolf, who's really been a blessing to be with. Not only is he enthusiastic about knowing about Christ, but he's actually telling his friends about it. And so currently he's inviting all his friends from China, from around the world, and inviting them to hear more about Jesus. So it's been really exciting.
Every week, there's about 25 of us that get together for the Tuesday night social. It's a chance to hang out, relax, and get to know each other better and see how people are doing throughout the week. Last semester we had one guy, Victor, who was loads of fun to have around, and this is his story when he was here.
I'm Victor, I'm from Germany, and I'm doing a study abroad program at Griffith Uni. One of the interesting things about student life here is that I learned to share my faith. One of the most exciting things here is that I could share my faith with my friend Jay, and he became a Christian after that.
Well, I have the privilege to be talking with the National Director of Campus Crusade for Christ Australia, Bill Hodgson here. And Bill, I was just wondering, what is the vision of Crusade in Australia for just reaching the lost here?
Yeah, Australia is an incredibly secular country, a secular culture. It's a free and open democracy, and it would say perhaps it's Christian, but really the average Australian really knows very little, has very little understanding of what it truly means to be a Christian or to have a relationship with Christ. I think about 20% have any real regular connection with a church, and about half of those, you could probably say at most, would be involved in evangelical churches, and probably a half to two-thirds of those might actually be able to share the gospel with others. So it's a small 5 to 10% really know what it means to know who Jesus is. So that means that you have a population that has a bit of a vague, they think they know what church and religion is about, but really they have totally no clue. Our vision in Australia is that we would see the non-churched people have the opportunity to hear and respond to the gospel presented in non-religious terms through the life of somebody who's truly following Jesus. And that as those people respond, they would be discipled and built up, that they can work into their networks, not to sort of run them back into the bubble called the church, but to help them to live out the mission of Christ in their networks, because that person will have a network of all these other people who have nobody in their life who goes to church.
And with so much that we need to go because we're just a small group, how can we really take heart and be encouraged about how God has been moving? What have been some ways that we've really seen that take place here in Australia?
Yeah, well, man, we're seeing non-church people coming to Christ. We're seeing first-generation Christians on the campus or in neighbourhoods or wherever, not only just coming to Christ, but really taking the initiative then to want to share that good news with the people that they know and that they love. And many of our own Campus Crusade staff members came to Christ through the ministry. And so, the workers for the harvest are out there in the harvest, So there's lives being changed, there's movements that have started to gain ground and grow amongst the international students that come to this country and the many, many visitors that come and come to live here. Australia is so multicultural that you can pretty well touch every nation in the world by working in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. It's just such a mix. I call it the fruit salad country. It's got its own flavour, but it's bits of everything here. So it's a unique opportunity to be able to reach people from far countries, and then their networks go back into Vietnam, China, Cambodia, Kampuchea, Pakistan, India, you name it. They're resident here in communities.
One of the big decisions I made this past week was actually the decision to returned to Australia for another 3 to 5 years. Because currently I've only been an intern, and so I'm now going to be going down the path of being an international campus staff, which sounds a little bit more formal title, but that just really means that I'll be committed here to the ministry for another 3 to 5 years. So it's one that I'm really excited for. I know that God has called me down here to Australia for a reason, and I've definitely been seeing it as I've been able to share the gospel with so many other students here and just to interact and care for them and love them. And so I just would ask for your prayers for me as I now go through all this paperwork and visa stuff for just really staying here longer. And I really just ask for you guys to continue to be praying for the ministry because things are just going great here. And so thank you again for all your support and prayers, and it means so much to me, and especially for these students. And that is why I'm going to try and be getting more of their stories to you so you can hear from them firsthand and how their lives have just been totally changed.